Hi there everybody, it's Jo for OutOfThisBinary. Welcome to this week's Saturday video. We are talking about how we cope with gender dysphoria this week. So I have written down a list in my handy book about the ways that I cope with gender dysphoria. Yes, here's my big list. See? I have lots of coping strategies because I've been working out this coping strategies for a while, and so I've amassed a bunch. So I'll tell you about them. Sorry, I keep looking at myself, not the camera, and I know that that's not proper protocol for YouTube, but I look wherever I want to, so there. Okay, so let me tell you a little about my dysphoria first. I have vocal dysphoria and like body form dysphoria and chest dysphoria and name, if my birth name gets used, I get dysphoric about that, and pronouns. All of those things I get dysphoric about. I'm having a particularly body dysphoric day. I like to color, so I have a couple coloring books and some coloring pages, like the first video I made, my intro video. And I like to color in non-conforming colors, I guess. Like if I'm coloring people, I usually color them like purple or green. Anything bright and not what's expected, because it makes me feel a little bit less strange, I think. Similarly, if it's a body or a chest dysphoric day, sometimes taking a hot shower will be really helpful, sometimes not. It depends on the day. I've heard other people who have dysphoria, who struggle with dysphoria, say that showering can be really helpful. It can also not be very helpful, but I find it usually helpful. It's like nice positive sensations on my skin, like the water droplets and the heat. And I usually close my eyes and I'll like sit in my shower and just like be in the hot rain, and that makes me feel nice. And listening to non-binary affirming music or poetry. So my current favorites, there's an artist named Angel Hayes. They are agender and a hip-hop rap artist. I highly recommend looking at their music. Oh my god, especially if you look up Battle Cry featuring Sia, that one is amazing. And then there's, on Angel Hayes' SoundCloud page, if you look up their remix of Same Love. I wasn't a big fan of Macklemore's Same Love, but I'm a big fan of Angel Hayes' Same Love. Oh, and then my favorite, I listen to a lot of Andrea Gibson poetry. I'm not sure exactly their gender identity, but they go by Andrea and Andrew, depending on social media outlet, and they write poetry about this, and they have about 6 poetry albums. So yeah, those are 2 of my favorite artists, and listening to them helps a lot. I'll also have like, I'll put on my favorite binder and my favorite undies. My favorite binder is like this sleek silver thing that makes my chest disappear. And then my favorite undies are like these, well, I have several favorite pairs, but I really like these the seafoam pair with black band. They're Ellen Boys underwear. Brilliant, I love them. I like to put these things on, my favorite binder, my favorite undies, and lay in my bed and watch my favorite show. Well, watch a show I like. This is like Grey's Anatomy, or I've been watching Cosmos, which is narrated by Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's on Netflix. That's a really fun one, because I like learning about space. I also will play my ukulele or guitar. Sometimes this works if I'm having vocal dysphoria, because I like to sing. I like how it feels. Like the vibrations of my vocal cords feel nice. And I like the rhythm of playing my guitar and my ukulele. And it makes me feel skilled and like I can use my voice to do something that I enjoy. And so that helps with vocal dysphoria. It's kind of weird, like, it's like my first instinct is to avoid, if I'm having vocal dysphoria, like avoid talking. But I've realized that actually makes it a lot worse, because then I get more afraid to speak. So if I actually do something that takes more guts, like singing, I feel better, because I've just like affirmed myself with my own bravery just by myself. Also, if I do this while wearing my favorite binder and undies, it's even better. If I'm having name or pronoun dysphoria, which is triggered by people not using my right name or pronouns, then saying or writing sentences with my name and pronouns is really helpful. I wrote 2 down here. So there's, Joe likes their blue hair. Joe's really great at writing sentences about himself. I love the way Joe's mind works. They are really smart. Positive sentences like that, which have my name and my pronouns in them. Or even just like, Joe went to the store today and bought themselves cookies. I did. It was really delicious. I write stories about non-binary characters. Even just like a scene of somebody else who's like me with some same feelings. Or a non-binary character who's not like me. That helps me a lot to write about somebody else and just be in a different context for a minute. But like express my feelings through that, I guess. That's helpful to not have to hide it or stop feeling it, but instead to feel it in a way that is defined. I guess for me, like a story, I need a plot, I need an event to happen, then I can throw a non-binary character into that and have a story about somebody I relate to. And I like to use pronouns in this writing that are different from any normal pronouns. So I'll use like ter, terra, and terra self, or soul, sun, and sun self. Those are two examples of pronouns I like to use. I've started to learn how to sketch, so I will sketch non-binary. I'll sketch non-binary bodies. But what that means, here I'll show you one I just did. Don't laugh too hard. This is my sketching. I'm struggling. And this probably is backwards for you. It says NB power. This is what I did at the doctor's office while waiting to talk about whether I could go on hormones or not. If you're curious about that journey, it's on my personal channel. Let me wrap this up because this is getting long. Oh yeah, some days, especially if I just don't have the energy to deal with my dysphoria, like to do something constructive, I will just let myself cry. Like find a quiet place wherever I am and cry for a good 5, 10. Sometimes I cry as long as I want to because it's really important. Like it's like getting all of this energy out of my body. Especially if it's a day where I've taken in a lot of negative comments or ideas about trans people, then it's really important to just let myself cry because it gets that bad energy back out of me. Like it might feel like crap while I'm in the middle of crying. Usually it does. But then when I'm done crying, it feels a lot better because I'm not holding this pressure anymore. I've just let it go. If I feel particularly lonely, I'll go on Tumblr and YouTube and listen to other non-binary trans people talk about their stories. Or sometimes if I need to be distracted, I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch My Dark Kitchen because it's funny and it makes me laugh and I like Hannah Hart. And this is what I've learned to do anytime I'm upset, and it applies a lot to dysphoric feelings. I will ask myself if I have eaten recently, if I'm hydrated, if I've had some water, or if I have had enough to sleep, or alone time. Or sometimes I'll think if I've had a bad interaction recently, but like basic self-care, sleeping, eating, alone time, sleeping, eating, alone time, water. If any of those are missing, I'm going to feel more dysphoric because my emotions are going to be a little more transparent and a little bit closer to the surface because my body is in need of care. So then I will, if I haven't eaten in a while, like a couple hours, then I like to eat every like 2 hours. I'll have a snack. So I'll have a snack and that'll help a lot. Or if I need some water, I'll take a break and drink some water. Or if I haven't had enough sleep and I I'll let myself take a nap. Like 5-10 minute nap is all I need sometimes, or maybe a 4-hour nap. Depends on the day. If it's lack of sleep but I can't get to a nap, then I'll use some of these other coping mechanisms. Maybe I'll have a good cry because I'm tired, and crying will help get some of that bad energy out. Like, I usually have a little more energy after I've cried. I don't know. If I know what triggered my dysphoria, tracing it back to that source of like somebody called me she pronouns out in public, and that makes me feel dysphoric, like about my whole body because I feel like I look like a girl. It makes me feel like I have more control over my own feelings if I could trace it back to the source. That's what I'm trying to get across. So that's how I deal with dysphoria. How do you guys deal with dysphoria? Do you have any suggestions or tips or favorite ways that make you feel better? Share them below if you feel comfortable. This is Jo with OutOfThisBinary, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you next weekend.